Three, two, one.
Boom! And welcome to Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Mossberg, the official gun of Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, and the Gold Star Hunt, which is coming up the 1st of October. I am Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
Don't be sleeping on that 940 waterfowl gun. That's what I shoot. And gentleman on with us today,
Mr.
Mossberg.
Yep, Mr. Kevin Thomas, outlaw country recording artist. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing great, guys. How about you guys?
Doing good. Don Williams will be proud of you because I don't know what do you call the word? Your release of Tulsa Time is badass. That's a great song, and nobody ever plays it anymore.
Yeah, man. You know, Don Williams is one of my favorite all-time writers, and I really don't believe he gets the credit he deserves. You know, he didn't write Tulsa Time, but he did write a lot of hits, or what I would consider hits. They may not ever got the radio play that they deserved, but to me, a hit is a song that, you know, just you feel it. You can resonate with it, and he wrote a lot of those for a lot of artists like Waylon and people like that. So, you know, he wrote a lot of what I consider hits for me, anyways.
Is Dean Dillon the greatest music writer of all time, country music writer? Or the most well known?
Not to me. And the reason why I don't think so, to me personally, is because of when it comes to radio, man, I'm not about it. Never been about it. Probably never gonna be about it. But it really just depends. It kind of goes to the topic of George Strait being the king of country music. In my opinion, George Strait ain't the king of country music. Yeah, he may have the most number one hits or whatever, but kind of going back to what I said, a hit to me is not a number one on radio. To me, a hit is something you resonate with, something you feel. And to me, there's just not a whole lot of music that Dean Dillon and George Strait has wrote that I feel resonates with me. So to me personally, no, I don't think he is. To me, Merle Haggard would be that guy.
What about Bo Cephas?
Yeah, man. Hank, I'm a big Hank fan. Mainly more so his persona. Because, you know, let's just clear the record and get it straight real quick. You know, a lot of people think outlaw is a sound. It's a I guess a certain sound. You know, when you hear Creed Fisher, you hear me, you hear Frank Foster, and some of those guys, man, you instantly think outlaw. You hear Waylon, you think outlaw. But really, outlaw ain't a sound. Outlaw is for what you believe in. It's you know, Waylon didn't. The reason why he was what they consider the original outlaw is, you know, he didn't want to put 10 instruments on a track and then have 5 band members on a stage. And, you know, he wanted the music that he put out, he wanted to be able to replicate on stage for the people. And Nashville today ain't like that. They wanted him to go. Go ahead.
It's a different genre, is what you're saying.
I don't even know if it's a genre. It's more a way of life. It's more of what you believe in kind of thing. You know, it's, you know, doing things your way and on your own accord, not caring what Big Nashville has to say about it. You know, you put the music out you want to put out the way you want to do it, and that's outlaw to me. You know, it's not going to jail and you know, drinking all the time and just getting all buck ass crazy. It's doing things the way you want to do it, you know, on your time, and not giving a damn what people say about it, you know, or what Big Nashville has to say about it. You
But
know, that's outlaw.
is it
So,
possible to
but
make
yeah,
a career that way though?
yeah. There's plenty. You know, that's another stipulation is people think that you have to be an A-list, what I call a A-list select performer or artist to be successful. But success is really dependent on what you want to do in life. You know, my goal is not to be on radio. My goal ain't to be famous. My goal ain't to be some, Luke Combs. Um, if that came my way, would I take being famous? I mean, yeah, obviously, who wouldn't? You'd be stupid not to. But you know, that's not my goal. I know several touring musicians that tour the country um, that make really, really, really good money, have tour buses, do all those things, and have a great band behind them and provide for their family and have set their grandchildren up and their children up, for generations to come. But you look, they ain't got millions and millions of people that follow them. They got people. They put butts in seats at venues. They sell out 1,500 seat venues, 2,000 seat venues all the time. Um, and stuff like that, and make really good money doing it. And they love what they do, and they don't have somebody telling them what they can and can't do. And they make a good life, and that's all I want. And really, when you think of things, that ain't really that far fetched.
What?
Just
Okay.
takes busting your ass.
I'll throw you a name out there. I'm old. I'm 57 years old, fixing to be 58 or maybe 58. Anyways, I'm old. I can't remember how old I am for sure. But David Allan Coe, I grew up listening, big fan of his.
Oh yeah,
That's about as outlaw as you can get about not giving two shit about the establishment.
100%.
And he's a very good artist, and he's got a great voice. And I can't believe he's still alive. He's back to that freaking the Rolling Stones guy. David Allan Coe is probably die tomorrow after I say this, but that son of a bitch might live to be 140. He's so pickled.
Oh, you ain't kidding. I have people all the time commenting on my videos and stuff because I have a song called Outlaw Shit, and it says
Very
I
good
ain't no
song.
rhinestone cowboy, and that's kind of what everybody called David Allan Coe back in the day, and what I mean by that is I'm not talking about David Allan Coe. Obviously David Allan Coe's as outlaw as they come with the mindset that he had and things like that. But what I'm talking about is when you walk down on Broadway, if you ain't got a pair of sunglasses on, no matter if it's day or night, you'll get blinded. There's bedazzled shit everywhere. So that's what I'm talking about. Even the men, I mean, God, believe what you believe, do what you do. But I mean, shit, when it comes to the point to where your outfit's outshining your performance, there might be an issue there. You're not gonna catch me wearing bedazzled shit. That's just bottom line.
Well, I like David Allan Coe. He wore some bad. When I think of Rhinestone Cowboy, I think more of Glenn Campbell than I do David Allan Coe.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
but Porter Wagner, big time bedazzled. But David Allan Coe done his own shit because he was never really he was never welcomed and respected into that Willie and Waylon crowd that he wanted to be, and he cut some damn good music.
yeah. I agree. It. Man, if there's anything I learned from music is that people form these little niche groups, and man, it's damn near impossible to infiltrate those niche groups. No matter what you do, no matter how good your music is, uh, and stuff like that.
What would you? Let me ask you. I'm gonna throw out another name. Let me see what you think about this. What about Aaron Lewis from Stained? Leaves Stained, goes out, cuts a country music album, and then I recently saw some clips. He was on Tucker Carlson. He's like, "Yeah, radio won't play me anymore because they don't like what I stand for."
Yep. But look at Aaron Lewis's career.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, Aaron Lewis is making more money now than he ever did with Stained.
right.
And he's not on the radio.
That's true.
The world of independent music is coming, guys. I mean, independent music is taking the world over by storm because of social media.
Right.
And the big record execs hate it. They love it for the fact that they got to put less work in because they ain't got to go put their asses in seats and Broadway and watch people perform and decide,
Right.
okay, well, that guy's got something going or that gal's got something going. We'll sign them to a shitty ass record deal
Hmm.
and let's see what we can do with them and promote them a little bit, put some money behind them. Now they don't have to do that because you're selling yourself on social media. But they also hate it because they know that when it comes time to when you got somebody with 2 million followers that's getting millions of streams a week and you want to go sign them as a record label, if that person has any brains or anything to them, they know, okay, well, I don't need that record label right now in my life.
Hmm.
Now, if your goal is to get on radio, okay, if your goal is to be country music, to go to all the CMAs and play that shit and ACM awards and all that crazy nonsense, if that's what your goal is, by all means, you're going to have a record label eventually.
Hmm.
You're going to have them to move up in the level, and stuff, move up the tiers and stuff like that. But for me, that's not my goal. So
Right.
I don't need a record label. I am signed to a small independent record label that I am very, very, very grateful for, that has, helped me be able to put my music out because I come from a small ass town in Kentucky, dude. I've never had anything in my whole life. Just this year alone have I really started to be able to make really good money playing music, and stuff like that, and started blowing up. So I'm like I said, I've never had anything in my life, and to be able to have somebody come to me and say, "Hey, dude, we really do think you have something, and we want to be able to help you out with that." Now, granted, ain't no record deal in the favor of the artist.
No, no.
Never going to be. But without that record label putting up the money to produce the music that I'm producing and put me in rooms with some of the best producers in Nashville, and when I say some of the best producers, I'm not talking about these new age producers that produce the stuff on the radio. I'm talking about these people that have produced Waylon, Travis Tritt, Randy Houser, Jamie Johnson. These people, like Rick Rubin,
Hmm.
like put you in rooms with people like that and produce real country records. And then I've got a few guys out of Cincinnati as well that are legendary rock producers, that kind of goes hand in hand with what I'm doing with that outlaw rock-ish country vibe. And so it works. But the record label's done that for me and helped me out tremendously in that. So I'm very grateful. But I also feel like they care about the music. Being a smaller independent record label, it's not all about the money. They got to make their money. Obviously, that's how they stay afloat. But it's also about artist development, and you don't find that in the big labels anymore.
Right. Aaron Lewis also said, basically you sell your soul for that first record label deal. And like you, kind of like you said, like for that first big one, and kind of like you said, like you don't make any money off of it.
No, no, you really don't. They call them a 360 deal. The big ones are. This means they pretty much take everything. Every show that you play, they take a percentage. Every merch item you sell, they take a percentage. On top of, they take pretty much all your money that your music makes until you recoup what you spent. So if they say, okay, yeah, we're going to fly you out to California, put you up in a hotel for a week, you know, and they pay for it, well, guess what? They charge you that plus interest.
Right. It's not the let's get you out here and have
it's
some
not
fun.
a free trip.
Right.
It might not cost you nothing to do that
Right.
at that moment,
Mhm.
but it's going to cost you in the long run. It's a loan pretty much from the bank that you got to pay back plus interest. But the crazy thing is the interest is very high, way higher than any bank loan. It's also, you've got to repay that back before you ever see a return on anything. So if you sign a $2 million record deal, which don't mean that you get $2 million in cash give to you, it means that they're willing to invest $2 million into you for promotion, PR, recording, things like that. And I've not met a record label yet that ain't willing to go. If you say, hey, I want to drop $500,000, if you got a $2 million record deal, $3 million record deal, whatever, and you say, I want to drop $250,000 on this music video, I've never heard of one saying, no, we don't need to do that. Okay, whatever you want to do. It's
Right.
$250,000 you're going to owe us. And the song do 1 million streams, which is only about $3,000. So, $3,500, something like that. So, I mean, that's where a lot of artists mess up, is they go head over heels in debt with these labels, and then the label realizes that they're not going to be able to make no money off of them, and they drop them, and then they're stuck with this tremendous amount of debt that they'll never be able to pay back. Or the record label pretty much seizes their songs like the government would your bank account if you don't pay your taxes, and hold on to all rights of your songs for 15, 20 years, hoping that it'll stream enough to make their money back at least.
Right. So basically it's just like a line of credit that you have with the record label.
Pretty much.
You got a $2 million line of credit, and after that, we'll figure things out.
Yeah, and they usually do
so it's not a
contracts.
Check. It's not a check that you're getting.
No, some of them will give you, it depends on the deal. Like a distribution deal means that the record label pretty much will just distribute your music for you. But they'll write you a check. They'll say, I'll kind of go over a deal that I had. So when I first blew up on social media, Sony Music Group reached out to me, wanting to sign me to a distribution deal. And they wanted to give me $15,000 up front. But with those $15,000, I had to record 6 songs. And after the first 6 songs, they'd give me another. They wanted me to record 12 songs total, right? For a year. And they wanted me to put 6 songs out with $15,000, and then they'd give me another $15,000 after I could turn those 6 songs into them. They'd give me another $15,000 to record the next 6, and then if they decided to bump it up to 24 songs instead of 12, then they would give me an extra $50,000, which would be $25,000 for that next 6, and then $25,000, and then it'd keep going up. But they only would decide to bump it up that next is if they made money on my first 12. Right. So, but they would distribute it through the Orchard, which is their distribution for Sony, and stuff like that. But they didn't develop me as an artist. They pretty much just said, keep doing what you're doing, and we'll pay you this money and hope it takes off for you and you make us some money. If not, well, sucks to be you, I guess, because now you owe us a shit ton of money.
So you would have to pay them back even though they're paying you for them songs.
Oh yeah, they'll make that money plus interest.
Do they own the music, or do you own the music?
They would own the music.
So if they wanted to put it on to, let's just say Jelly Roll, and you got a song that they like, and they thought, you know what, we're just going to give this song to Jelly Roll. There's nothing you could do to keep them from doing that?
No. If they own the master, they can do with that song as they please because they own it. I would make money from the, if I wrote the song, the writer's credit, and my own publishing, because they wouldn't own my publishing, but yeah, I'd get writer's credit, so I'd make money from being a writer on the song and my own publishing. Or if I was signed to a publishing deal with another company or another publishing label or whatever, then they would own the publishing. But that's the only way I'd make that money, and stuff like that. But I wouldn't make nothing off the masters until they recoup their money. And then I think that was a 75-20 deal in favor of me, meaning I got 75% of the income off those songs after I paid that plus interest back, which is good. That's pretty decent coming from Nashville for a newer artist. But they didn't just want where they was going to really make their money is what they call an upstream deal. So if the distribution deal worked out and they kept distributing, what they would do is essentially sell my they'd sign me on to a full record deal, okay, where they paid for everything, and stuff like that. And that's where you get into like the 4 million, 5 million, $6 million record deals where you get like, here's your credit limit, right? Um, and they would sign me on to a full deal. And then what they would do is hopes by this point, by the time I get a full deal with Sony, I'd have to be doing probably 10 million streams, 11 million streams a month, at least, to have a full on deal with any big label like that. But at that point, I mean, you're making, I said $3,500 a million streams. I mean, look how much money that is if you've done it on your own.
Right.
That you're making, but they're making all that. You're not getting to.
So your song Outlaw Shit is a very good tune. Is it getting,
I appreciate it.
It's a really good tune. And that's where I saw it on Instagram and someone shared it and I listened to it and that's when I reached out to you. What are are you getting a lot of radio time with that, or does anybody listen to the radio anymore?
Yeah, people listen to the radio. Like I said, I mean, I don't write music and sing stuff to be tuned for the radio. Outlaw Shit's talking about stuff Nashville don't want.
Right.
And when we talk about the radio, I'm talking about Nashville. Like the big radio stuff, like Sirius XM and stuff like that. But no, I'm not. I don't have any big, what I would call radio hosts promote my stuff like Bobby Bones and stuff like that. I don't have people like that promoting my music because they won't promote my music. My music's not, mainstream music. It's not talking about. It's talking about being against everything Nashville stands for in today's music. Nashville didn't stand with Waylon, Johnny Cash, and all those guys. They only signed those guys because they had to. And there'll come a point in time in my career that I'm sure that there'll come a time when they'll have to reach out because it would cost them money not to. Now, regardless if I go for it or not, I doubt it. But, a lot of people like to say, don't sign this, don't sign that. But they also never get that opportunity.
Right.
A lot of people that say that, they don't get the opportunity to be able to set up their family for the rest of their life. A lot of people throw off on Luke Combs early on in his career because he signed with, I think it was Sony, I think is who he signed with, but he'd signed and he'd come on national television and apologized for a song that he had, I guess, wrote or whatever, and there was a music video, had a rebel flag in it or whatever, and he went on there and apologized because the record label wanted him to. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I would do that myself because I've never been presented with that kind of thing. But I also don't blame him because, Luke, they call it say he sold out. I don't believe that. I believe Luke done what was best for him.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you right now. I just read today that Travis Kelce got $20 million for the Pfizer deal, and people are bitching about that. I'm telling you right now, I'm as anti-vax as you get when it comes to this COVID bullshit and all that other liberal Democratic fuck stuff. Fuck that shit. Mm-hmm. But for $20 million fucking dollars, I'm gonna wear a pink dildo fucking I'm with her Hillary Clinton hat and walk around town because my grandkids won't have to worry about nothing the rest of their life. So I don't blame a guy for doing that shit at all. If you can set up your family, that's what it is. I guess I have no moral character, but I would do that shit for that kind of money. And I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
now Travis Kelce was already rich. He didn't have to do that shit.
Well,
That's
he's only making 17 this year, so you're going to double your salary by.
So you're with me. You'd do the same thing probably.
Yeah.
And most people listening to this that are hypocrites say, fuck them, some bitches. I ain't listening to another sellout. They do the same damn thing if they had that choice.
You were never put in that position.
Yeah. So I don't blame Luke Combs for that. But back in the day, when you talked about Waylon and them, Those guys, even Loretta Lynn, if you watch Coal Miner's Daughter and it's a movie, her and her husband drove all over and would give disc jockeys records to play. That was a very common occurrence in the 60s. I mean, those people had to go promote themselves. There wasn't the internet everywhere. Shit, the Shindales are one of them groups that had a big couple of big hits. They made their money because the mob bought a bunch of records, radio stations, and played their music and made them go number one, so they would get a lot of money. I just saw the other day where someone got in trouble. They figured out how to get their streams done on something by having all these bots download their music and play them all the time. And now Sony or someone's suing them because they made $12 million off of it. Fuck, that's pretty damn smart if you ask me.
Yeah, well, when you do distribution like through DistroKid or anything like that, you have to sign an agreement that pretty much you wouldn't do that. That's why they're suing them, and stuff like that. But the problem is the problem with that is, hey, I'm all about get your money where you get it, okay, where you can get it. But problem with that is fake streams look good on paper, but they don't butt asses in seats. Mm-hmm. And any touring musician will tell you that streams matter, but asses in seat matter more, because the people that are, and Waylon even told Travis Tritt that when Travis started his career, Travis, they was all like calling him a phony and all this bullshit, and things like that, because he had put out TROBLE and Country Club and stuff like that, and it was different from, the music that was being on the radio at the time. And they started calling him out and all this shit and everything. And Waylon looked at him. He said, Hoss, he said, I've been seeing what they've been saying about you on the radio and stuff. He said, don't you fret it. He said, I want to ask you one question though. He said, are you selling tickets? He said, yeah, we're selling out about every show. He said, well, don't give a damn about what they say. The only people you should care about when it comes to your music is the people that's supporting you and buying your tickets and buying your merch and listening to your music. That's the people you should care about. And, that's truth. It's the people that buy those tickets that support you are the ones that, keep your career alive. That's why you see these musicians that are way past due to retire, but they're still out here grinding. They're still out here playing shows and stuff like that, because that's where the money's at for any musician. And I think Aaron Lewis even touched on that podcast that you was talking about earlier. Is touring is where you make your money. Mm-hmm. That's where you make your living as a musician. The streams matter, but butts and seats matter more.
Man, I tell you what, I've talked about this several times on the podcast. I went to Tulsa to see Aaron Lewis play. It was him, and he had one other guy on the stage, just two people on the stage. That was the best concert. And I'm not a big concert goer, and I definitely don't want to go to like a fucking AT&T. They have all these mega concerts where the Cowboys play. I have no desire to do any of that shit. Too big of a crowd. You can hear the same shit on the radio. He played acoustic for an hour and a half, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, man. I talk shit about Morgan Wallen and all those guys. That I talk shit because I guess I just don't care for the music, but I appreciate and I understand the hustle and the grind, so I respect them for that. They found a way to make themselves seen. They made a way to set their family up generations to come, so I'm never going to blame somebody for that. But I like to be able to look out into a crowd and see somebody looking back at me, singing my words back to me. Mm-hmm. I like to be able to look out into the crowd and be able to pinpoint people in the crowd and be like, that I've seen that person before. They've been to a show before. Morgan Wallen can't do that shit.
Right.
When you got 20,000 people in a stadium or more, I don't know how many. I don't know nothing about numbers when it comes to that, but how far? That's like, how are you supposed to remember anybody? How are you, to me, the intimacy of the performance goes out the window.
Oh,
You know,
100%. Yeah.
And I'm all about a man in an acoustic guitar or a woman with an acoustic guitar, just being able to be there or being able to look down and see, somebody that's been to my show 3 times prior, 2 states away from where I played those shows before,
Right. Yeah. Also, everybody was talking a lot at this show, and you can still go on YouTube today. He had one song to go, and he fucking loses his shit because everybody's just a fucking chatterbox, and he ends up throwing his drink on the crowd and storms off. It's like, just shut the fuck up and let me play. I got one song left. I've already come out. This is the encore. He's like, I got one song left. Let me play it. And they wouldn't shut up. So he's like, fuck it. Just, ah. Luckily, we were far enough back. Drink didn't get on us.
That's a big problem for like local musicians. I mean, I've dealt with it before, where you're in like a restaurant or bar, and it's just, they're not there to listen to the music.
Yeah,
they're there to eat, drink, and have a good time. And you're just like background noise, but you have people talking over you, while you're trying to sing, and you in a microphone. So it is frustrating. But I'd say it really gets frustrating when the people are actually there to see you and won't shut up.
Right.
So, I don't know. I think there's better ways to handle things like that. Do I agree with him getting pissed off and storming off? No, but if it was something that, I'd say that it's probably led up to that. It could have been something that's happened several times in the past couple months of touring. And I mean, man, touring life will make you do crazy shit, dude. Cause it wears you down. Like, I just got back from Idaho, flew in Saturday night, from Idaho, playing a place called the Valley Music Festival out there, opening up for Josh Malloy. And, I'll tell you, man, I had like 6 hours of sleep in 3 days, cause I don't have a damn driver to drive me around,
Yeah.
And good luck sleeping on a flipping plane. So, I had about 6 hours in 3 days. So when I played my show, I was completely wore the hell out, but I still got up there, gritted my teeth, and put on the best show I possibly could. But man, when I got home yesterday or last Saturday night, I slept all through Saturday night, way up until late Sunday evening. I mean, I was out and wasn't going to get up. And pretty much laid in bed all Sunday and just said, screw this shit. I'm not getting up, so it makes you, I could see, I mean, it makes you go crazy, and you may say things that you wouldn't normally do, but it just wears you down. And especially with somebody like that, I think he said on that podcast, he still does like 170 dates or something like that a year.
Wow.
The most I've ever done in 1 year is 226.
Fuck.
And I can tell you that was literally 5 days a week, 6 days a week of playing music. So, he's at least playing 3 dates a week, if not more. And that don't include travel time. The people only see the time that you're on the stage, that hour and a half. It's like, oh, they made $200,000 for an hour and a half of playing music. That must be a dream. Yeah, but you don't see the damn time away from family. You don't see the cost of having to pay the band, having to pay production, having to pay sound people, having to do all this, having to do all that. I mean, there's so much that go into it, that a lot of people and the average listener don't know about. And when you're the boss, if anybody that owns a business, ever owned a business, knows this, when you're the boss, everybody's always reaching out, wanting information, well, what do I do here? What do I do here? What do I do there? You never get a chance to step away. And, if he's doing 170 shows a year, like he said he is, dude, that dude's wore out.
Yeah, 100%. Do you worry about your voice losing your voice at all whenever you perform that much? 220 dates, that's a lot of singing.
I don't do that no more. Yeah, that was my first year playing music. That was really rough for me. But I took a lot of precautions to keep my voice going. Honey, a lot of what I call honey sticks. My girlfriend makes these honey sticks, and she gets local honey from where I'm at, and we'll fill up like these little. You ever seen them little them little straws with the color powder in them that like candy?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she has like these plastic straws that she does, and then she burns the end of them and flattens them out. And then at my shows, all I got to do is cut the top off of it and squeeze the honey into my mouth and swallow it, and that helps. Honey has a natural anti-inflammatory because vocal cords are muscles, right? And if you ever go to the gym and you ain't, been to the gym a whole lot, well, the next day you're sore as shit, right?
Right.
So, it's the same way with vocal cords, but that honey helps keep that inflammatory down to where it may not be as bad the next day, or the recovery is a lot easier. But there's all kinds of stuff you can use, and I used it about anything you can think of. That first year, just to help cough drops. I was chewing on cough drops during my performances and stuff. That helped out a lot. There's a whole lot of stuff. Yeah, you just take precautions and you'll be fine, and things like that. So.
Yeah, I'm looking at Aaron Lewis's dates right now. October 2nd, October 3rd, October 4th, October 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 16, 17, 18, 19, 22, 24, 25. Then he's got a break in there November 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13.
He damn sure ain't doing it for the money now. 15,
16, 18. But like you said earlier, like those days in between that you're not performing, like he had a 4-day break in there, but he's going from North Carolina, or he's going from Mississippi to North Carolina, and then turning around and going from North Carolina to Pennsylvania in a day.
Yep. That's, now imagine doing that and not having a driver. Meaning that you have to drive. That's what I did. So, just with the driver, it does help out a lot because you can sleep while the driver's driving, obviously. But when you ain't got a driver, you've got to drive yourself. It's rough too, But yeah, I mean, that's all travel days, probably a lot of those. I mean, there's some artists that I've seen that are on tour that will have like 2 days in between travel days, and they'll fly out to back home. So they'll fly 4 hours back home, get home, be home a day, and then have to turn around and get back on the airport and fly back to their tour bus where the tour bus is at, and then get on the tour bus and drive across the country to their next show.
Fuck, I don't know which way is better to do it.
It's
I guess if you want to see your family,
fly into the place they're playing at, and the tour bus will meet them there. I have friends that are bigger in the industry that have told me stuff like that they've done just so that way they can be home
right,
for a day and a half for their family to see their kids, because if not, they be gone from their family for 2 months. It's definitely this is a career that really is hard on. It's like being a truck driver,
right?
When you're first starting out and you're doing cross country hauls, you're gone for weeks on end. That's kind of how this is. So it's definitely hard on families, and it definitely takes, for me, I'm very fortunate in this to have a woman that is very strong and supports me tremendously, because it takes a special kind of woman to be able to do this.
Oh, I guarantee you.
Be able to put up with what I do for a living. So yeah.
What was your first big break in singing?
First big break. Well, I had going viral really. I had done some really cool things before that, but really opportunities didn't start coming until, like, really starting to come until I went viral. I went viral on TikTok with Tulsa Time. I done an acoustic version on it, me just sitting out in the woods on a log. And it done I think 3.4, 3.5 million views in a couple days. And I think it's over 10 million now.
Whew.
Million. But that was the big first thing. When that happened, right after that, my song Three Chords of the Truth done really well for me as well. But kind of what hurt me too is I didn't have no music out really at that time. So all that momentum kind of, it didn't go away, but it kind of dwindled down a little bit because I didn't have no music out. And it took me about a month, 3 weeks to a month after Tulsa Time done that to be able to get it out. So it obviously took some traction, but it didn't take the traction that it could have if I already had it out when it blew up. But yeah, that was kind of my first big break, I guess. Social media, doing that, and it kind of opened the doors to a lot. I had a lot of people reaching out, label wise, which I didn't really sign to any of those. But I had the Big Five reaching out, is what I call them. The Big Five is like Columbia, Universal, Sony, Atlantic, stuff like that. Those record labels. So yeah, that's probably my first big break, I'd say.
Yeah, and that's hard, right? Because like you'll take the viral moment, but you just hope that you have the back end already taken care of. You know what I mean? You hope that you've got songs to support the viral moment.
Yeah, this industry is all about preparation. Preparation is key for everything when it comes to this industry. Obviously I didn't know Tulsa Time was going to take off like that.
Right.
I didn't know my music was going to take off the way it has so far. That was the hopes, but people tend to procrastinate on things. And at that time I wasn't signed to a label, so I didn't have no money to really put no music out because it's expensive. And I was trying to figure it out, and I didn't have nobody in my corner that knew anything about the music industry. It was just a poor old country boy from Monticello, Kentucky that just knew he liked to play music and liked to write songs every now and again, and I just knew how to work the internet a little bit. To be able to post videos. I mean, that's about all I knew. I didn't know anything about what I know now. So I mean, you don't expect it to happen, but I'd been working. A lot of people think it's an overnight success kind of thing, and it ain't. I've been working. I've been posting every day on social media, the best quality stuff that I knew how to do at the time, every day. For months.
Yeah.
Before that ever took off. So I mean, it's just I wasn't prepared for it to do what it did when it did. So preparation's everything.
What's the old boy's name that had the song about the politicians on both sides being crooks a couple years ago? That was real.
Oliver Anthony.
Oliver Anthony. There's a guy nobody knew who he was, and it was one viral video made him, I'm assuming, millions of dollars.
Yeah, the thing is though, didn't he have that song already out?
I don't know. I don't know nothing about him. I just know all of a sudden everybody knew who he was, and I don't think I've heard his name in 6 months.
Well,
which don't mean nothing. I'm not listening to a lot of music anyway, so I like old music when I do new music.
He definitely, he's had kind of a little spurt with his new song, "Scornful Woman," which I do like that song that he put out. It did kind of give him a little bit. I mean, he's obviously, I don't think he's signed to any label, so he's making all the money himself. So, I mean, that's why when he first started, everybody was like, well, Oliver Anthony turned down a $10 million, $10 million record deal. I mean, who can do that? Well, I can tell you who can do that. Somebody that's got the #1 song on Spotify for 4 months, for 4 weeks. That's got more than that coming to him.
Yeah.
That's who can do that. Because I mean, that's what I would have done too. I'd be like, so you want to give me a $10 million record deal, but I've got $25 million coming my way next month.
Yeah. Let me think about that.
No, I think I'll set on it.
Yeah.
So he ain't struggling to feed his family, is what you're saying.
Oh, hell no.
Unless they're eating a lot.
He could retire and live the rest of his life
Good for him.
happy,
Boy, you know
And
them record executives hate that shit though, because it's taking them out of
it goes back to
control.
what I said. You know, it goes back to what I said about independent music on the rise, man. It gives us all the power, and they hate that shit. You know, I'll tell you how that happens. You know, and this is where the record label comes in handy to an extent when it comes to independent artists, and why a lot of people sign the dotted line is because I had a buddy, not going to name his name, but he's still independent, and was independent then, uh, and he got a call from a big stadium. The booking there wanted to get him on a show with Sturgill Simpson, and everything worked out. My buddy's booking agent got it done. Everything worked out. Everything was confirmed. Well, the record label stepped in on Sturgill's side. See, and I guess it was on Sturgill's side. I'm not really sure complete details, and I'm not going to say shit that's false. So I don't know complete details, but pretty much they stepped in and vetoed him opening for Sturgill because they had another opener going to come do it that was signed with what I call another record label, because the industry is all about you scratch my back, I scratch your back kind of thing. And if Atlantic has, let's just say Atlantic has Morgan Wallen signed to them, right? And Sony signs this small artist, and they're like, well, hey, our artist, he's getting this kinds of numbers. We're trying to advance him up the tier list. Let's get him to open some shows, scratch our back and let him open some shows for Morgan, across the country or whatever. And in return, we will take our artist Jelly Roll and put some of your newcomers on shows with him and scratch your back. Right. And that's how that works. But when you're independent, you don't have no way of scratching their back. There's nothing that you can provide to them that can scratch their back without, signing onto them as an artist. So, and if you're not willing to sign to them, then they're not going to help you because, you can't scratch their back. They're only helping you at that point. You're not helping them. So that's kind of what happened with my friend. And he wasn't able to open for Sturgill because the record label vetoed him, wouldn't let him do it. So that's why a lot of artists sign with record labels, because then that allows them the opportunity to do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. The good old boy system.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's tough to break, though. I mean, it's tough, when you're wanting to go your own
that's
way.
why Cody Jinks is probably one of the biggest independent artists in country music. And you don't see him opening for nobody like Morgan Wallen.
No, it's true.
He's headlining his own shows, and I promise you, Cody Jinks ain't hurting for money. So, that kind of goes back to what is your success. Cody Jinks is known by a lot of people, but he's independent. Is he famous? He's not red carpet famous, but I would consider him.
He's famous in Texas.
There. Oh, 100%. Everybody in Texas knows Cody Jinks. But yeah, I mean, he's independent, but you ain't gonna see him opening for no Morgan Wallen, Luke Combs, none of those guys, because he's not he's a headliner, but he's not a list headliner. He's not a red carpet guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he's made a damn good career for himself and never signed a record label.
Is Coulter Wall, is he on a record label, or is he doing his own thing? He is?
Yeah. La Honda Records out of Canada, I'm pretty sure, is what he's signed to.
Because he's kind of got that aura about him, like, fuck the establishment. Beat to his own drum.
The thing is about Coulter Wall is Coulter Wall kind of, and I may be wrong on this, and if I am a Coulter and you see this, buddy, and I'm calling you out, I'm sorry. But I do believe that culture had already come from money,
Mm.
so it's not really a big deal for him. He's a rancher,
Yeah.
and ranches have money. Uh, they have not necessarily cash on hand, but they have liquidation,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Land rich, cash poor.
They're land rich, yeah. If they ever needed it, if they really needed money, they have it there to be able to get, kind of thing. So, you know, I don't really think he really cares. From what I've understood, I don't know him personally. We have mutual friends from Canada, um, and based off what they know is what I know. So
Mhm.
they, I don't really think he cares too much about the money. It's more about the music for him. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Yeah. That's kind of what I was getting at. Like he doesn't really seem like he's in it for the fame and the money and all that stuff.
no, very much so. He don't care about that,
Hmm.
and that's fine. I don't. That's the same as me. I don't care about the fame.
Hmm.
Uh, the 3 people that come up to me, 4 people that come up to me in public every now and again is enough for me. You know, um, it makes you feel appreciated, and that's cool. Um, but more importantly, they something that you've done in life somebody appreciates, and that to me is a feeling all its own. So
It's got to be hard whenever you write a song and release that to the public. You know what I mean? Because like that's a part of you. That's almost like a child, and like you're putting it into the public for them to judge.
yeah, I mean, I'd say for some artists, yeah. To me, it's not really, and the reason why I say that is the music I write. I tell people this. My record label's gonna jump on to me for this, but like I said earlier, I say what I say, and that's just who I am.
Yeah.
I write okay music. I'm not. I don't deem myself a great writer. I deem myself a very novice writer. Um, my passion is not writing music. My passion ain't even performing music. My passion is the people. My passion is meeting the fans and the supporters. My passion's looking a veteran in the eye that's heard one of my songs, like that ain't released yet, but a song called "Don't Tread on Me" that's coming out September 16th. Um, they, look me in the eye when I perform it live at a show, and they got tears in their eyes, and they hug me and they say, "Man, you don't know what that song means to me."
Hmm.
That's my passion. That's what I care about.
Those
I love
moments.
being up on stage and getting to look at the faces and perform and sing my music and have people singing back to me. But I can't wait to get off that stage, to be honest with you. Because when I get off the stage, I know I'm going to be standing by my merch booth and I'm going to have people coming up to me, shaking my hand, telling me how much my music means to them, you know. And I've had, I mean, there's nothing more compelling than having a grown ass man cry on your shoulder and
Yeah.
tell you that your song saved their life.
Yeah. It's got to
As
be.
coming from a grown ass man, that is one of the hardest things, but one of the most humbling things that you'll ever experience in life as an artist is having watching somebody so big and so manly be so vulnerable at the same time. It makes you feel a certain damn way, and that's for sure. And that's my passion. Always will be my passion.
Yeah. It's got to be tough, right? Because like you didn't ask for that. You know what I mean? Like that's a heavy
Yeah,
moment.
yeah. You don't. There's no words to describe the feeling, really. And a lot of times you just don't know what to say.
Hmm.
All you can really do is just hug them back and reassure them that you appreciate that they listen, and it means more to you than you can ever describe, that they care that much about your music. That's pretty much all you can do. But there's times where where you just you know don't know what to say. You know.
Earlier you were talking about the record labels, how they screw you over and all this stuff. They did George Jones that way because he wrote a song. I can't remember the name of it, Yabba Dabba Doo or some shit that he did that turned out to be a big hit. But that was his way of getting back to them because he had to have so many songs written by a certain time, and over this money loan that they do to you.
Well, that's a publishing deal. They want you to, you know, publishing deals. You got to write so many songs. You have a quota to meet, and you got to meet your quota. So, that's kind of probably what he's referring to. It's just meeting the quotas that they set out for you. Some of them are crazy. I've heard some crazy ass quotas with some friends of mine that's signed to publishing deals and stuff, and things like that. And I'm just like, God, dude, like, how can you even be an artist
Right.
when you're stuck writing that much? I mean, and he's like, well, it pays my bills, you know. I understand that, but damn, like, there's not a day. I mean, there's just so much shit that goes into this. I don't know how you can just sit and try to write 2 or 3 songs a day. I get lucky to write a song a month. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't write a whole lot. I do a lot more co-writing than I do anything. I would prefer people send me songs that fit what I'm trying to do, that I like, that speaks to me, you know, that I feel like is what I'm trying to say, and me just cut those. I don't care if I write another song, to be honest. Like I said, it's not my passion. I like writing songs, and I like I think the camaraderie, or whatever that word is.
Camaraderie.
Well, of getting to sit in a room with another person or 2 other people and co-write, you know, some stuff and come up with ideas. I love that, but I love it not because of what we're writing about. I love it because I'm getting to sit and socialize with other people.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And come up with cool ideas. You know?
It's like a hangout.
Yeah, it's like a hangout that you're, you know, being productive with. You know. So yeah, that publishing. That I'll never sign a publishing deal. I don't deem myself anywhere worthy enough as a writer to do that. Nor would I ever want that added pressure on my plate, because I got enough of it as it is. I promise.
Mm-hmm. So, what is the allure of like you said, like you talk to your friend, like how the hell are you ever gonna get out from under this? Is it just the money on their end? That's all that they saw, and they're like, "Ah, fuck it, I'll figure it out."
Well, they hope that they get a song recorded by one of the A-listers.
Oh, I gotcha.
You know, because if they do, they're set up. You know, Dean Dillon. You was talking about him earlier. Watched the interview, and they said, "Well, how hard was it to write all them hits?" He said, "Shit." He said, "The first one was the only hard one." He said, "After I got that first one," he said, "the second one come easier, the third one come easier, fourth one come easier, and then before you know it, everybody in Nashville wanted to sit down and write with you, and every artist in Nashville, no matter who they was wanting you to write them a song because they knew it was going to be a hit."
Right.
You know, and it's all about, you know, it's like there's artists out there that, and you all probably agree with this, that have very minimal talent to them.
Mm-hmm.
But yet they're on some of the biggest stages in the world. You know, it only took that one.
Personally,
and now
I kind of think I kind of think Willie Nelson's kind of that way.
He's a terrible singer. Great writer though.
Like, I don't think his voice is anything remarkable.
Back in the day, it was a little different. I'm not a huge Willie fan either, but I'm more of I respect Willie for what he was able to accomplish. Because let me tell you something. They say Waylon was the original outlaw. I don't think so. I think Willie was. And the reason why I say this is because Willie Nelson, while Waylon was still wearing a suit and tie, while Hank Jr. was still wearing a suit and tie, still, you know, trying to shoot their shot with Nashville. And because back then, you know, that's what you did. Suit and tie, staying on TV. Johnny Cash always did it too, you know. Willie Nelson was wearing a red bandana, buddy, and cut off.
Now, when he was the redheaded
Thing.
stranger, I think he was in a suit. I'm gonna look this up. I think
Redheaded Stranger was the first album that he put out where I would consider he was.
I would have to look him up, but there was a time Willie Nelson was wearing a suit and tie. Also, I remember
For
this
sure, but he was, but he was also the first one that broke
it.
Yes, but
broke it, started doing his own thing.
Now, Waylon was a cricket with Buddy Holly.
Yep,
and
he played guitar for me.
Yep, and luckily didn't get on the plane. But I'm pretty sure that when he played on that, I'm looking at a picture of him in 1965. He was wearing a suit and tie on the Grand Ole Opry.
Who, Willie?
Yep. He moved to Austin in 72 when he changed and dropped his.
But like he said, he was the first to get away from that.
Yes, he was. I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying he played the same game for a little bit too. But
for sure. But he was the first one to break away from the game, is what I'm saying. And he was the first one out of all those guys to stop saying, okay, Nashville don't want me, so therefore we're not going to do Nashville. We're going to do whatever the hell I want to do. And then he put out Red-Headed Stranger.
Yep.
And
75.
changed his whole look and become who he wanted to be.
Yep.
And it's what took off for him.
And he wasn't shy about smoking weed either. And back then, weed was very, very taboo.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. He just done what he wanted to do.
The best thing happened to Willie Nelson is Austin, Texas, when he had Bloody Mary morning and he went to Austin, Texas. Because at Austin, Texas, he could be himself. Texans didn't give a shit as long as he put out pretty good music. Willie is not a good singer. He's a great songwriter, and his songs are very, very good. Hello Walls is a great tune. Willie. I liked Waylon a lot. I liked Waylon more than I did Willie, but I liked both of them.
Right.
Chris Christopherson is another one that couldn't carry a tune in a suitcase. I can't sing for shit, and me and Chris Christopherson might be about the same level of singing.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right. But also, I guess it really depends on what you clarify a singer as. What I clarify a singer as, I'm not a singer.
You got a damn good voice.
Yeah, but my voice ain't nowhere's what I consider a singer. When I think of singers, man, I'm thinking of Cameron Marlowe. I'm thinking of Marcus King. I'm thinking of Teddy Swims. I'm thinking of Freddie Mercury.
Boy, that is a very eclectic list. My wife's a big Teddy Swims fan, and Freddie Mercury. I'm not a Queen person at all, but he has some great vocals. Very, very good. That's what I
consider a singer.
What about Steve Perry?
Do anything.
What about Steve Perry?
Yeah, same. That's a singer.
Great voice.
He can do whatever.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
Michael Bublé.
Exactly. I'm not. I do what I do well, and that's it. I can't go in a vocal booth and you say, "Okay, I'm gonna throw some R&B on, sing this shit." I couldn't do that. Teddy Swims could.
What do you think? Because I think Post Malone's that way too. If you look at everything that he can do.
Yeah, but this is also the thing. Okay, Post Malone. This is why he's not a singer to me.
Mm-hmm.
Post Malone without production doesn't sound the best. Even on his live shows, he is very I don't want to say overproduced, but there's effects on his voice to crisp his voice up. He's got a really good tone to him.
Right.
Okay. But without that, production on his voice, it ain't the best. It's like Jelly Roll. Same with Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll has a good tone to his voice, but without that production, it's not that good of a voice. Post Malone's where he's at. Same with Jelly Roll, because of the previous career he had and the genre he was in. Jelly Roll what we don't know, Jelly Roll, man, he had a big following prior to ever coming to country music. Same with Post Malone. Post Malone was more of on, I guess, a bigger scale than what Jelly Roll was as a rapper. But I will always be a Jelly Roll fan, but not for the country music or the music that he puts out now, but because of his previous career. Jelly Roll is an excellent writer and rapper that can sing a little. Same with Post Malone. Um, and that's just how that is. Post Malone wouldn't carry a tune in a bucket against Teddy Swims or any of those guys we mentioned previously. Those are singers. Those are guys that can walk in and sing any genre, and you're going to believe it that that's their main genre.
Right.
Blake
That's Teddy
Shelton.
Swims. That's
Blake Shelton's got a great voice.
I believe so.
I just seen videos of Post Malone, like he'll do Nirvana, he'll do Pearl Jam, he'll do country, he'll do a country cut. But I also don't know what I'm listening for all of the added productions on the back end either.
Anything on video can be produced.
Right.
Let's put it that way. It may not seem that way, but a lot of these guys that you see on video, unless it's an absolute live performance, are lip singing. I lip sing on pretty much all my videos. Some of them are not lip singing, but a lot of my videos that I put on the internet is lip singing lip synced to the video, to my music, and stuff like that. And there ain't nothing wrong with that as long as it's on video and not live. I believe, anyways. But they are also a lot of technology out there that can correct your pitch on stage, and you can add. That's how these rappers like T-Pain. T-Pain is a great singer, okay, but T-Pain is also known for his auto-tuned voice.
Yes.
On his recordings, but how do you think he gets that effect live?
Because
it's a lot of plugins, a lot of production goes into his live to be able to achieve that. That's him singing it live, but it's sounds like the recording because of the effects that's on his voice. It's the same way they do Post Malone and all these other guys, Jelly Roll. They have effects on their voice to make their voice sound crisper, cleaner, and more correction, and they correct pitch. So there's times I sing a little flat every now and again, but in the studio they can correct my pitch a little bit to where it's perfect. It's on key,
right?
And stuff like that. And live, I'm pretty close to what my studio stuff is, but there's every now and again I'll go a little flat a little bit on some stuff. That's just the nature of the beast. Because I don't have obviously the money to put into production like that, where I can have pitch correction and all that crap on stage, nor would I ever use it. I just don't feel like it is authentic to me. But yeah, man, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that people don't know, especially when it comes to these bigger artists. A lot of artists still use lyrics on stage.
Really?
Teleprompters. Oh yeah, dude. Especially the older generation. And stuff like that, you just don't know it. You don't see it because it looks like a wedge on stage.
No shit.
I mean, I use a wedge on stage that has a teleprompter, not necessarily with lyrics on it, but it has my set list. That's mainly because I'm blind as a bat and can't see a piece of paper on the ground. But every now and again, like if me and a band just learned a new song, or I have a new song that I just wrote that released, that I'll be honest with you, that I don't, that I get caught up in the moment because I have ADHD and. I mean, I get thrown off by anything. A fly flies in front of me while I'm on, and I'm like, "What the hell was that?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, where we at?"
Yeah.
And every now and again, it's good to have those lyrics down there. You can be like, "Okay, well, we're right here. We just came out of the second verse. We're coming into the third verse or whatever," and I can look down, boom, and there it is. And then it's as easy as a simple glance down. Okay, that's where I'm at. Boom, take off.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm sitting there like.
Yeah.
Okay, let's read this words and just stand here.
Like karaoke night or whatever. You just use it as a reference to know where you are.
Yeah, that's what I do. I don't stare at it. My smaller shows I'll use an iPad, and it's a big ass thing, man, dude. I got a video on TikTok. I'll send over to you. The Jelly Roll, an A-list celebrity, an A-list singer, singing a cover of a song. I think it's "Keep Your Hands to Yourself" or whatever. Georgia Satellites. And he literally walks back like 3 feet, looks over. There's an iPad on a stand on stage with him. He looks back over at the lyrics and then walks forward and starts singing. But it's such a big crime to have that on stage.
Right.
Did
you? Yeah.
Did you see AC/DC this weekend? The video of them?
No, I don't want to.
It was absolutely them guys. I'm telling you right now, Angus, he could cut it. That was a great band, but it's time to hang it up. They're 72 years old, and it was absolutely terrible. And worse than that was David Lee Roth singing "Hot for Teacher" the other day. God, I was embarrassed for him. Oh, what a showman at his time! But it's time to go to the old folks' home. I mean, you're having to wear a diaper basically, and you shouldn't have leather pants with your old dick hanging out. Your balls are down to your knees, and you're trying to sing "Hot for Teacher," and you're it's terrible. Oh, it's bad.
And that's kind of goes back is they're still trying, they're still trying to make money, and it's probably because they got screwed over so bad when they was making money, or no, when their music was making money,
It was bad. I was so embarrassed, but the AC/DC, it looked terrible. But I know some people that saw AC/DC 3 months ago in Dallas, and they said it was a hell of a show. Well, it's all lip sync and stuff, and I don't care, and it's. But it's time. And when you see the video, it's time to go straight to the old folks' home.
That's the only time when I would consider lip sync being okay on stage. I mean, if you really people really want that show, I mean, AC/DC carries a heavy name. I mean, that's probably one of the greatest rock bands, or definitely in that conversation to ever come out. That everybody knows. Everybody knows flipping AC/DC, dude. I mean, I don't care where you're from, AC/DC. Or have heard of them at least, if you've ever listened to rock and roll. And, so, when you get that old, the name carries a heavy load. Still to this day, their music is still played on the radio just as much as it was back in the day. So it's all about the performance at that point. To getting to say, hey, I've seen AC/DC perform. And stuff like that. So, if you ain't got the vocals to do it, don't sing it.
Right. No,
that's how I feel it. But if you want to lip sync your stuff or whatever on stage and put a performance on as AC/DC, I mean, shit, who cares? Just go put the show on. To me, I probably wouldn't go watch that just because if I wanted to listen to AC/DC and go watch them lip sync, I'd just go listen to the radio.
You don't want to pay $400 to watch some old man.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
No, and that's but that's what they're doing though now, and it's still them and their music. But it's and when you hear Thunderstruck, when you start hearing that come out, I don't give a shit where you are. If you're in Antarctica, that's AC/DC, like you said. If you hear Eruption, it's Van Halen. There's certain things and you're like, wow. If you hear the first part of Pour Some Sugar on Me, it's Def Leppard. But there's a time to come when it's time to hang the shit up, and they're at that point right now. And there's still some good old guys playing music. I saw Roger Daltrey playing the other day, and I was really surprised. And I was shocked.
Really got on a business aspect, AC/DC's name carries such a heavy load that they still make money.
Oh, they're still making good
money. So, do you hang it up and turn that money away, or do you keep doing what you're doing and because they're still selling out shows, man. So I understand where they're coming from. I probably wouldn't hang it up either if I was still making that kind of money playing shows, regardless of how old I was, unless I absolutely wanted to. But they're still making money, and they're still selling out shows and people are still coming to see them. So, as long as people come to see me, I guess I'll keep playing, you know?
Yeah.
Even if it's good or not. Willie Nelson, poor fella, dude. He can barely play guitar, more or less sing, so, but he's still, people are coming out to see Willie Nelson, man, even though pretty much the whole show is his whole family out there, Randy Travis is another one. I got a buddy named Cody Glenn Cox that has been on tour with Randy Travis and just got off tour and is about to go back out this coming month.
Randy Travis is? I thought he was all fucked up or something.
Well, he is. He's still playing.
But he's touring.
Yeah.
Really?
He's touring.
AC/DC 100.
He's not singing, but this is how he's doing it. He's got like 4 or 5 people opening the shows and singing his songs to the crowd. So it ain't even Randy Travis singing. And then they bring Randy out at the end of the show and they all sing Forever and Ever and Amen. At the very end of the show, Randy goes, hey, amen, kind of like that at the end of the show, and that's the Randy Travis show that you're getting.
That's
You're not
it.
getting Randy Travis. You're getting a bunch of other guys that can sing still and sound good, singing Randy Travis tunes and putting a few of their own originals in there as well. But that's what you're getting at a Randy Travis show.
I did not know
But
that.
he's still selling out venues, and he's still making money because of his name, because of who he is.
I tell you what, he's got the best DWI arrest video. Have you seen that fucking thing? Have you seen him getting arrested? Oh my god, that is the absolute best. There's times I'm feeling bad, having a little bit of a down day. I'll go watch it on TikTok. It's the best. You got me here with my goddamn dick hanging out. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. I'll ruin you, motherfucker.
AC/DC made $180 million off their last tour is what they brung in. Now, that was the total gross. But if they're making 10%, that's $18 million. I guess that's better than eating blended food and then shitting in your drawers at a damn convalescent center. So
would you hang it up if you was making that kind of money?
Yeah, right.
At that time, you got to think that they don't. There's some reason they keep going back and playing. I mean, it doesn't matter where you go. The ones
It's
with
the
a lot
thrill of performing.
yes, it's got to be that. But they AC/DC needs to. It's sad, but some things old men don't need to be doing. And hair band rock and roll at 80 years old is one of them at least.
I agree, but I don't think I'd hang it up if I was making that kind of $180 million a year.
No, they love performing. They love the crowd singing their songs back to them, like you said. Like they've grown accustomed to that. They're still making a ton of money. There's no reason for them to hang it up. I understand it doesn't look good. Same as Kiss. You know what I mean? Like
they hung it up.
I know that they did, but they probably could have hung it up a long time. But people weren't going there to see Kiss perform. They weren't going there to see Kiss sing. They were going there for all the pyrotechnics and to say that they watched Kiss perform. Not to hear them sing.
Nothing like seeing a 70-year-old man in 12-inch lift shoes with makeup all over his face.
Got me here with my.
That's the way.
I agree. It ain't gonna be the best show. It ain't gonna be the best performance. I mean, you can't expect 70-year-old men to get out there and dance around like they did when they was in their 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they're making just as much money as they did then.
I bet Steven,
probably more.
I bet Steven Tyler can still sing like some bitch though.
I think he can. I mean, I've not ever seen him live, but I don't know. Maybe
that's another amazing voice. Great voice.
You know, that's where we also, where I kind of wish Freddie Mercury was still around.
Well, Freddie was.
I don't know. His voice was so good that even at 60, 65 years old, his voice was still. I would still think his voice would still be okay.
One of the coolest stories about him is that his teeth were all jacked up. He could eat corn on the cob through a picket fence. Some bitches were fucked up. But
that's also what it's something to do. He had some kind of thing because of the way his teeth was pushed out. Is some kind of like jaw deformity or something, and that's also what allowed him to be able to sing the way he does because he was able to open his mouth like farther than the average human or whatever, or something like. I read up on this. That's what caused him to be able to sing the way he does.
Yeah, they wanted him to get his teeth fixed, and he didn't want to mess it up. And plus, he had too much fun on Friday nights on dates with his mouth.
It's also how he got his third husband.
Yeah, that's right. But he could fucking flat sing. But they did. They said that they said when you're famous and rich, you get your teeth fixed. He goes, I'm not doing that. I'm afraid it'll mess up my voice. But he had a great voice. And there's just some things that a 70-year-old man, Elton John still can get on a piano and bang at 70 years old, and you expect to see an old man that can sing a little bit. So he's another one that was an incredible artist.
So what do you think about like AI? AI is coming on the scene. It's putting out music all now. Are we getting into a dangerous time?
Man, this is kind of my take on AI. I think AI is okay. Now, I know that's probably not the answer you thought that you was going to hear from me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think AI is okay as long as it's used as a tool, not as a actual
finished product.
So if you went and generated lyrics into a phone, and then you messed around with the lyrics a little bit to make it, flow a little bit, and then I don't know how it works, and then you do something, however it works to where it generates the song or whatever, and then you send it to somebody and have them master it or whatever, and then you send it out and it's just a fake voice, AI voice singing it, and then you put it out on all streaming platforms and stuff like that. There's an issue there,
Right.
because with me, because you'll never be able to tour, you'll never be able to. I mean, you have to lip sync that with somebody with a face,
Mm-hmm.
you know. You wouldn't be able to do, you know, you wouldn't be able to replicate that live. Not to sound exactly like that, you know. So, but I mean, there's a lot of artists. I'm not going to name no names because they might not want me to, but there's a lot of artists that use AIs for demos
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because it just costs so much money. I mean, back in the day, it used to be you'd write a song, you'd sit down with the band, you'd write an instrumentation to the song, get all the parts worked out, figure the structure, go into a recording studio, hire this band to come in and cut the record. You sing on it. The writer would sing on it, or they'd have somebody sing on it, whatever. You'd get this real nice demo, and then you send it to publishing companies, big artists that you want to cut it, with the hopes that some big artist cuts it and stuff like that. AI kind of cuts that out to where it don't cost, you know, 2,500, $3,000, $4,000 to make a demo that may never get cut by nobody.
Right.
You know, so it's like AI can kind of step in, I guess, and fill that void and use it as a tool in that aspect, and stuff like that, or use as an inspirational tool to help bring inspiration or whatever. But that's kind of my take. You know, if my kind of thing is you got to be willing to adjust with the times if you want to stay relevant
Mm-hmm.
in music. That's just how it is. That's how it is with any business. Um, you know, it's just how it is. You know, one of my producers, Mark, he produced songs for, I mean, pretty much a lot of those guys you named earlier, um, and stuff like that, rock and roll and pop, what they'd call pop back in the day, like the Bee Gees' "Staying Alive" album. He produced that, which was disco music, you know, pop, what they considered pop back then, and stuff like that. And but considering the Bee Gees "Staying Alive," look where that's at compared to today. But he's still a producer, world-known producer today. That's a 40, 50-year, 60-year climb there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, look how much music's changed in those 60 years, and he's still relevant as a producer today.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? It's because he's really good at changing and adapting with times, staying ahead of stuff. If there's a fad coming around, he don't go, "Oh, I ain't doing that shit."
Mm-hmm.
He embraces it and figures out how to do it, but do it his way.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what artists, if they're going to be successful in any atmosphere, are going to have to learn to do that. Um, that's just how it is, and AI can be one of those tools. If you don't want to use AI, don't use AI. If you think it can be a good tool to help you put the best music out possible, then do it. But I think there's an issue if you're just using strictly AI to put music out and there's no talent behind anything whatsoever. That's an issue.
Right.
You know, Randy Travis, you know, was one of the best country singers in that era that he was big in. But the last like 4 or 5 records he's put out's been some other guy singing it, and they take AI to match that dude's voice up with AI, and make it sound just like Randy.
That's crazy.
You know, do I agree with that? No, but who really gives a fuck about my opinion, right?
Right.
That's just an opinion. I mean, I don't care if people like my opinion. I don't care. I don't like people's opinion most of the time, but I don't give a shit. It's not my opinion, you know? So, but at the end of the day, it's AI, and do with it as you want. If it makes you a shit ton of money, hell yeah. If you don't want to use it because you don't want to adapt with times, well, I hope the best for you, and I hope you can be successful in whatever you do.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you mentioned you got a new song coming out next week. Do you have any other new songs or just the single?
Yeah, so I'm dropping an EP next week, actually. It'll be my debut EP. It's going to have 2 bonus tracks on it. Don't Tread on Me and Hang Me in the Morning. So that'll be two bonus tracks that will be on that. And then I think there's 6 songs total, 6 tracks total on the EP, with 2 new tracks and 4 other tracks that you've already heard, like Outlaw Shit, 3/4 of the Truth, and stuff like that. But a lot of people was saying that they was having issues with finding my music, because when you drop a single, you can't just listen unless you add all the singles to a playlist. You can't just keep listening. You listen to one, and then you have to go and click another one or find another one.
Mm-hmm.
And they just kind of like, oh, when you're going to drop an album? We want an album so we can listen straight through and stuff. So I listened, and me and the label's going to drop an EP, and we're going to title it "Don't Tread on Me." And yeah, that's kind of where we're going. So it'll be 2 new tracks: "Don't Tread on Me" and "Hang Me in the Morning." "Don't Tread on Me" is a song that really, it kind of talks about the injustice system in our country with our veterans. Those veterans get a little, some of them gave all, and some of them still give today for this country. And I think that they're treated very poorly in this country by our government and the people, and some of the people in this country. So it's a song, that kind of throws shade at the government, and also tells people to get their head out of their ass and pay attention to our veterans, because they gave more than a lot of us is willing to ever give. So, yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's called "Don't Tread on Me," and I think that's the perfect title track for the EP.
September 16th. It'll be able everywhere, Apple, Spotify, wherever people stream music, they can find it.
Yep, sure can.
Hell yeah. Well, we look forward to that. Listen, dude, we appreciate you coming on here. Good luck with your EP coming out next week. I'll be streaming it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys, and thank you, Mossberg, for the sponsorship podcast.
There you go.
I like Mossberg an awful lot. So
There you
go. That's my go-to rabbit gun, turkey gun. So
we appreciate it. God bless you, my friend. Good luck to you. Thank you very much.
You too, guys.
You have a great day.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you very much. And we are out of there.
It's amazing how AI. I had someone today tell me about a guy that does AI, and he's a great singer. It's not his voice.
Really?
He just puts stuff on a chat GPT or something, and a song comes up in somebody else's voice. Dan Reese or something put one on the podcast page about us, our podcast, and it sounded like Garth Brooks singing. The voice was actually pretty good. It was kind of surprising. It's amazing how they do that.
Let me see if I can do this.
What are you going to do? You going to write a song real quick?
No. Play everybody the Randy Travis video before we leave.
Oh.
God, this is the best. This will just pick you up instantly.
You goddamn insulted me.
How did I insult you, Mr. Travis?
You insulted me by locking me up in a goddamn cage, basically, with handcuffs behind me with my dick hanging out. Now, and I'm proud of my dick. It's bigger than most, but you insulted me.
The cop's laughing.
You're a dead man. Now, when
So if you're having a bad day, or if you're gonna go watch Randy Travis, if you're gonna go see Randy Travis sing "Forever and Ever Amen," ask him about his goddamn dick hanging out. You're a dead man. He's lucky. I don't know what
I'm
charges.
proud
he
of
got.
mine. It's bigger than most.
He's lucky. I mean, they could have. I don't know what charges he got.
I think at DWI, or public.
Could he have
intox.
said it? Because they've gotten him for that threat to a peace officer.
I think that cop wasn't really worried about him.
I don't think he was either. But
I think the cop giggled when he said it's bigger than most. I'm
God.
proud of it.
goddamn dick hanging out.
All right. Thank y'all for listening to us. God bless. Have a great day.
It's bigger than most. It's bigger than most.